Hi, welcome to everyone. So, welcome to one more monthly session of PertUX. This event will be in English once more and again. And on behalf of PertUX, I want to thank you for attend to our events every month. And this one is there's a lot of people here waiting. For the ones who is the first time, PertUX is a community in Porto, as the name says. Um, and our goal is to share knowledge and experience between all UX designers and other roles. And with that, help the community to engage with the UX activities and working model. So please follow us on social networks that will be pasted in the comments box. And now I will pass the word to Angela, who will moderate the session and explain with more detail how it works today, because today is a little different. So enjoy it and see you in a while.
Thank you, Marta, for the warm welcome. So let's start our session today. Today we have Inês Fernandes, a designer from Critical Tech Works. She will talk us about Microcopy. As most of you may know, Microcopy plays an important role on user experience because it supports our users to use the products. And we are really happy to see so many of you joining us today. We can see that we have not only designers, but also other roles that are involved on the product development. And it's really nice to see that we are supporting this awareness and spreading this knowledge through every members of the teams. Our session with Inês today will be a little bit different from the others that we have on the past months. We will need your help and your collaboration during the workshop, so please don't be shy and participate. And at the end of the session, we'll have also a small questions and answers with Inês. So please feel free to share anything, participate on chat, make any comments. For sure, you will enjoy this session. So Inês, now the stage is yours.
Thank you,
I'll pass
Angela.
the touch to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Like Angela said, I am a designer, and I will be talking with to you today about Microcopy. I'm not a native English speaker, so please bear with me a little. I will try to speak slowly so everyone can understand me. And so let's start. So let me just... Okay, so first things first, I'm not a copywriter. I am a designer. I worked with copywriters throughout my career so far, and actually came to a point where I was where I was feeling very uncomfortable about writing copy and writing stuff for the screens that I was designing. It was always a struggle for me because I couldn't do it as well as my fellow colleagues that I've worked with in the past that were copywriters and experts in microcopy. So for the last 2 years, more or less, I've been trying to kind of study this, study what is really microcopy and how could I get better at it. So I joined here a few guide rules and tips, and maybe this way I can help you feel more comfortable with it and do a better job at it. So for our agenda, first of all, for those who don't know really what microcopy is and where it came from, I will explain briefly what it is, where did it come from. Then we will go to our workshop. So have pen and paper at hand, or it could be even just your kind of notepad on your computer if you have two screens. But be prepared to write. I swear it won't be painful. It's just like short sentences, quick exercises, just for us to kind of make this more fun. And then at last, we will talk a bit about text placement, like how can we use those rules that we will be learning about during the workshop? How can we kind of like pick them and apply them on like real life scenarios? So first of all, what is microcopy? The term was coined in 2009 by Joshua Porter. So Joshua basically created this checkout form, but the thing is 5 to 10% of his online transactions were failing. And if you have worked in e-commerce or something like that, you know that like 5 to 10% is a lot. And so the problem here was that users were not writing the correct billing address. So they were writing an address that didn't match their credit card address. And so what Joshua did was just added like this really tiny sentence here. Be sure to enter the billing address associated with your credit card. And it ended up solving the problem. So just by adding like this small sentence, remember this was 2009, and so people weren't, it was new for some people to shop online. So right now you think, oh yeah, who puts another address in their billing address? It has to be the credit card, it's so obvious. Well, not for everyone. And just by having this tiny sentence, it changed everything. So basically, what is microcopy? Microcopy is everything that you see on a page. So for example here, this is an example from MailChimp. And you have here, find your people, engage your customers, build your brand, do it all with MailChimp's marketing platform. So microcopy motivates and informs. It informs the user. What is this platform for? It motivates the user to log in and to create an account. It also instructs. So if you see labels, everything on a website, like I said, those are microcopy as well. So these tiny labels. Microcopy also gives feedback. This is very important. So all of this here that you see during this interaction with the password field, this is all microcopy here. It also has like a small micro interaction, but that's something for another topic. And it also sets expectations. So I don't want to receive emails about new MailChimp products, best practices, or special offers. So when you check this box, you already know what you're in for. So super important, great example from MailChimp. And let's quote here Richard Sison saying that microcopy is a short contextual text that informs or guides users throughout our product. So simple. And why is it important? Taking a bit of a step back here and talking about language. So only humans use language as a form of communication. And the thing is, every time something or someone addresses us using language, our brain goes like, oh, it's a human. And we do know that computers are not sentient, but we do tend to blur these boundaries between objects and people. And what that results in is basically that we recognize computer programs as social actors, and then expect them to comply with our social norms. So we can get angry at computers or programs, software. It can make us happy. So a lot of different things. And let's check out an example here. So here it's an example from PayPal. And PayPal says, hi, this is a chatbot, as you may see. Hi, I'm PayPal's virtual agent. To get started, simply ask me a question. I am still learning, blah, 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 blah. And Brady goes and writes, oh, I got scammed. And PayPal replies, great. So this is not an appropriate response to I got scammed. The bot was clearly not ready to get a message like this. And the thing is, put yourself in Brady's shoes. If you are like having an issue and want to solve it, and go and the chatbot appears and say, "Oh, can I help you?" and you go like, "Oh, I got scammed," and the chatbot says, "Great." So you get a bit angry, you get frustrated, and this is why words matter so much. It's our product, and people will always remember how your product made them feel. Another example here. This is from here in Portugal. So. The translation is up here. So it says, it's a push notification. It says, it's time to be a mom. And this actually is something recent. So I saw a lot of people reacting to this in social media. And the thing was, I saw this girl sharing, saying, oh, I've been trying to get pregnant for like 2 years, and now they send me this push notification. I'm never stepping foot in this hospital again. So you see, and this was just a bad mistake, because the thing is, this is the title of a blog post. So it wasn't supposed to sound like it sounded, but it still made people feel angry, sad, frustrated. So words matter a lot. And okay, next. So basically, to sum this up, Microcopy can boost your engagement. So this is big if you're selling services online or stuff like that. It can show off your brand's character, the brand's personality. It can increase the usability of your products because it's the text that is everywhere. And it can promote an overall positive experience. So super important. And where does it fit, more or less? So obviously, it's part of product design because it's in our products, but it should always be aligned with your content strategy. So brands have this tone of voice, this personality that we want to be consistent with. So let's say if a person is one day warm to you and cozy, and in the next cold and distant, you're like, what's this thing about them? So it's important that the products are like consistent in their tone, in the way that they speak to us, in the way that they approach us, like digitally, right? It will make users trust the product more. And how can we ensure this? There's this thing called voice and tone guidelines. There are many examples. I listed some here, some of my personal favorites, because, for example, Monzo, it's like quite a big voice and tone guideline library, and you can access it online. But then you have Salesforce, Adobe, Atlassian, Microsoft, MailChimp. So they have really cool examples of how voice and tone guidelines work. So they're not really these like rigid rules to follow, stealing here the words of one of the writers at Monzo, but it's more like a framework, and it helps everyone be on the same page and writing in the same way. Like, is my brand formal? Is it informal? Should I address people in this more like informal way, more cool way? Can I send emojis? Should I do that? So it helps everyone be on the same path. But we're not getting into this today. We're going through more of technical rules about how should we write. So let's go to the workshop part. So I hope all of you are ready and have pen and paper, or like I said, the notepad open if you have two screens. And I'll take you through this. Be aware that we might have a bit of delay between me speaking to you and you actually hearing me, and then me seeing the chat comments. So just bear with me a little. Okay, so I hope everyone is ready. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is I will show you some examples, some tips and guide rules to follow. Then you will write. I will give you like a not so good microcopy example, not a bad one, but like a not so good one. And then you will have to improve it based on the things that we discussed on the first step. And then I invite you to paste what you wrote here on the comments, on the chat, so that we can all learn from each other and check out the different options. Because I will show you one possible solution, but there's never like one correct option. So it will be nice to see what you are all thinking about and kind of add up to the discussion. So first rule is use the active voice. And I'll explain to you who don't know what the active voice is, I'll explain what it is. So for example, we have here a 404 page. It says not found, 404 not found. The page requested could not be found. Why can't it be found? Who can't find it? Who the hell can find the page? Who asked for the page? So this is in the passive. We are not identifying a subject. So the page requested could not be found by someone. Here we have a great Airbnb example of a good and clear microcopy. So we have here, whoops, we can't seem to find the page you're looking for. So we, Airbnb, cannot find the page that you, user, are looking for. So we are identifying the subject, and this is clear. We can clearly understand what is going on. Then a few more examples for us to get our head around this. A tip for you to kind of to be easier to see if you're using the passive or the active is if you can add by someone at the end of a sentence, then you're using the passive. So I have the aliens example here. So here on the first one, we have the page you're looking for could not be found by aliens. Okay, let's turn this into the active. So we couldn't find the page you're looking for. We. Then here, a second example. 10 euros were sent to Max by aliens. Who sent 10 euros to Max? You sent 10 euros to Max. Third one. If there are any questions, we can be reached by aliens via the email below. So this is a bit more tricky, but as you can see, it's also in the passive. It's just in the middle of the sentence. You see, we can be reached by aliens. No, we can swap this up and let's say, do you still got questions? Send us an email. And here, we don't really need the subject here. We could not, but since we are using a question, and we will get into questions a bit further on, this is actually okay. So much simpler, much shorter, and much more straight to the point. And then the last one says, this issue is being investigated by aliens. And we swapped it to, we're investigating this issue. So I hope this is clear for everyone. So subject here, not at the end. And let's go. So our first exercise, I have a timer of 40 seconds. I won't start it just now. So we have here an example in the passive voice. An email has to be entered. You see, we could add by aliens here. An email has to be entered, and we have to write it in the active voice. So feel free to do it. I'll start the timer, and now it's counting. Okay, and we're done. And I have an example here that just says enter your email address. But I can see we already have a lot of suggestions here. So please enter your email address. We can say please. Sometimes people say, oh, should I say please? Should I not? Please is okay as long as we don't overdo it. So one time here, one time there, please is fine. But if you are going like, please put your email, please put your name, please your password, we shouldn't do that. If it's just one, it's great. So yeah, great. Going to the next one. Enter your email here. Yeah. Yeah, you have great suggestions there. Okay, so next guide rule, have a conversation. And so here for the first part, how can we have a conversation, like sound conversational with people? I have an example from Monzo. Like I said, really like their voice and tone guidelines. So let's see here what they say. So for example, instead of saying assistance, they tell that people should use help. Instead of commence, start. Instead of enable, let. So the trick here is just imagine that you are in a setting where you are directly talking with someone. You wouldn't say assistance, you wouldn't say commence, you wouldn't say enable. You would say like normal words, right? And one thing to remember is, so if we are talking and writing to millennials, for example, why am I sounding like a Virginia Woolf novel? It doesn't make sense. And this does make a lot of difference. For example, a few weeks ago, I got a letter from the Portuguese finance system, and I made like a request not to pay a special tax because I'm doing some construction work on a house, and they actually like wrote me like this size of a letter saying that it was accepted. But before I understood that it got accepted, I had to like go through all of these like huge words trying to find the one that said accepted, you know. So let's make it short, let's make it simpler, and let's make life easier for our users. So like I said, we have to write the words as if we are saying them out loud. So just imagine that the user is in front of you and you are actually talking to them. So let's go here and see what a too formal example could be turned into. And as an analysis is being conducted to the vulnerability that resulted in the data breach. Can't even read it. We change it to, we are checking the cause of this data breach. Much simpler. Here, for security purposes, a verification email has been sent to the address that you provided. Please check your email and follow the instructions to activate your account. So why all this? We can just put a verification email is on its way to you. Actually, we can see that this, please check your email and follow the instructions. I mean, people usually already know this. So one thing that we can do always is go with a simpler version and just test it. Like, I mean, like you do it with the product itself, we can test our microcopy. So let's just test it and see if people understand it. Here, the third one. In the event you have forgotten your password to log in to your account, you can retrieve it by following the steps below. So this is really long. And here, for example, we have forgot your password, follow these steps. So here we are introducing questions. Questions are very, very good to go straight to the point and make everything shorter. And for the last one, please enter the phone number you would like to dial. We can just say, what number do you want to call? So much simpler. Okay, and now that we have saw the guidelines, let's see here a great example from Slack. So it really feels like they're having a conversation with the user. So what do you want to call your Slack team? Name your team after the group that will be using Slack together. Do you work at a large company? Then try using the name of your division instead of your company name. And then they have the field here. But it almost feels like that I'm at like this, like I'm phoning someone and they're actually just explaining me step by step. It sounds very human, very conversational. Okay, so second exercise. We have here, imagine and this is a streaming video platform and we have an autoplay feature here. And there's a tooltip here explaining what the autoplay will do. And this is good, this is informative, but we have a few words here. Enabled, maybe we can make this shorter and simpler. And remember the first guideline, use the active voice. So I will start the timer right now. And you can go. Okay, time is running out. I can see we have a lot of suggestions already. Okay, time is almost up. Don't worry about questions. Angela, who is moderating the session, is taking notes, and we will go back to them when we finish. Okay, so I see a lot of great suggestions here. So one possible solution that I have here is turn autoplay on, and the next video will play automatically. So we turn this into the active voice and also switch the enabled to turn autoplay on instead of enable. I see a lot of you said enable autoplay, but we can actually say something simpler like turn it on, or yeah. So yeah, we have one here from She Sapiens. When this is turned on, the next video will play automatically. This would be great if we had it in the active voice. So turn this on, more like straightforward. And yeah, so let's go to the next one. If you have any questions, type them on the box and we'll get back to it when we are done. So did you feel stuck while writing? Because this is something that happens to me a lot. Like I used to hate writing. Now I kind of like it because I know what to do step by step. Because I have like all these like checklists and guide rules in my head. But some tricks that work for me and might work for you is just start the first one, write whatever comes to your mind. Don't worry if it's not perfect, it's fine, just write it. And then when you are refining it, rewriting it, just don't erase what you wrote before, because the probability is that you're going to repeat the same mistakes that you did in the first sentences. So kind of like write it and then write down a better option and then write down a better option. This usually helps a lot. Okay, so a great form here from Azus. A lot of error messages, and it seems very conversational and at the same time super simple. So we can read it fast, which is important here in forms and error messages. It should be straight to the point, but at the same time, it sounds nice. So it sounds like I'm talking with a really nice person who's helping me fill out a form. And we have, whoops, you need to type an email here. We need your first name. It's nicer that way. So it makes it cool, let's say. Last name too, please. Hey, we need a password here. And then enter your full date of birth. And funny note here, you need to be 16 or over to use ASUS. So this is also important, this kind of information, because it actually explains to the user why you are asking for such a personal thing. This way, people feel more at ease with this kind of information. So if you are ever having a writer's block, just head over to ASUS to check out what they do. And then let's go to the third part. So the third big guideline is let's bring it to life. Let's bring our product to life. So we already know about the active voice. We already know about making words sound simpler and making it shorter. Let's make it more human. And how do we do this? So stealing here the words from Kinneret. A great book. I will tell you at the end which book it is. So what she says is that for many years, the trend was to make the interface clean with as few words as possible. And yeah, I felt this. I was always trying to make the sentences shorter. But the thing is, when we communicate, we use words. So sometimes it's not just about chopping stuff down to the bare minimum, but sometimes we can even add stuff to make our sentences better. And let's see how we can do it. So we have here 2 examples of like a confirmation message. Here, the first one, order created. Okay, it's fine. It's great. It's good feedback, order created, but it sounds robotic, right? You wouldn't hear a person say this. We can kind of pump this up, saying like, all right, we've got your order. So much more humor, much warmer. Remember that in this case, this type of using this type of text, it really depends on your tone of voice and how do you want to sound as a brand. So not for every product. So a couple of hints into how to do this to sound more human. So the first thing is to keep the connecting words. Connecting words are like the possessive, the articles, the pronouns. So just keep those words there. You don't need to remove them. Instead of saying download ebook, we can say download your ebook. Funny thing, if you work at e-commerce or sales, some studies even suggest that using the possessive might slightly increase the conversion rates. I never have tested it myself, but well, feel free to do it. Nothing like an A/B test to test this. Then, for example, number of items in wish list, number of items in your wish list. Archive report, archive this report. Close configurator, close the configurator. Select item, select an item. And then the last one, which is a bit different, no matches for red car. We couldn't find any matches for red car. So a trick also to keep us using the passive, the active. A trick for making us use the active is to remember putting pronouns where we can and identifying them. So it also helps. A few more tricks to make our copy sound human. So we don't need to be super clean. Humans use crutch words when they're talking. So those can actually make you sound more human. Use with caution. But for example, I keep saying so. It's a crutch word for me. I say so. And it's actually a bit annoying to me, and I wish I didn't do it. But the thing is, it makes me sound human, because if it was a machine, it wouldn't say so these many times. So stuff like that can actually help your product sound human. I'll have some examples of this, because this is tricky. This is more this gray area, because you cannot put this everywhere. It depends on your context, your audience, your voice tone. Also, if it's system feedback, error messages, but we'll get into that in a second. So interjections and onomatopoeias, they can also help setting the tone of what you wrote, like oops, oh no, yay. Some people do not like it. I am not opposed to it. I actually like them if they match the tone of voice and the brand. So I think it's just a matter of how do we want to sound to our users? How do we want for our clients, users to see us? The third thing is we can be charming and witty. So microcopy can be fun. We can be funny. A slight joke here and there can actually be quite nice sometimes. Again, depends on the product. And then sometimes we can also mix it up. Instead of saying always the same message in the same way, we can say the same message in different ways. This is also tricky. So let's go for the example so you can understand what I'm talking about. So for the crutch words and interjections, we have a couple of examples here. So this one is from LinkedIn. So whoops, it's not you, it's us. Give it another try, please. And then you can try to reload. This one is from Lemonade. Lemonade has great copy. So if you're looking for a good example of like a service with good copy, so Lemonade is pretty cool. And they say, all right, let's get you a quote. So it's nice, it's positive. And then we have the last one here from Simplicity, which is all done. The future is yours. I really like this one. Sounds super, I don't know, motivating. Okay, so how to be witty and fun. MailChimp does it quite well. I think these are old. They no longer have this. Not sure. I think not. But it's been a while since I've used MailChimp. So, but yeah, what they do also is they combine these funny kind of animations and visuals with the fun copy. So prepare for launch. And this is your moment of glory. So if you have sent a newsletter, you know how stressful it can be, because you have like this full list of people and you're like going through it, saying if you didn't make any mistakes, and you are checking if every link is okay. And so what they do is they seize this moment of stress and they turn it into something a bit lighter. And also we have this one, which is after you send the newsletter, they say your campaign is in the send queue and will go out shortly. It's really positive. It's fun. Actually, at the time, if you would like high five the hand, it will high five you back. So if you would click on it, it would like high five you, which was fun. So small things like this can really make the difference on your product. It will make it enjoyable. So, like I said, we need to be aware of the context. So don't use the fun and witty in common flows. So imagine you have like an error message with like a funny joke constantly popping up every time that same error would appear. It would go in like a really bad way because it would turn into annoying really, really, really fast. So if you're not sure if what you're writing is fun and if it will be annoying, if you suspect it will be annoying, then it probably will, and just lose the humor. Then the second thing is be very mindful of the context. Saying something like, "Hooray, your medical appointment is booked," so not appropriate. So I think it's a bit just common sense, but it's always a good reminder to have here. And here for mixing it up, this one is also tricky. So, for example, here on this side we have the same message being said in 3 different ways. So this is good. It sounds conversational. It's not boring. Imagine getting like constant notifications from Duolingo, and making them different actually enriches the product and makes it not annoying. So they're all really they're just to, it looks like a friend is talking to me, like, "Hi, it's Duo, ready for a break." And it's, although it's not always the same message, I already know why Duo is reaching out. So why I'm getting this message. And then we have a completely opposite example here from Revolut, where all the messages have the exact same structure and information. Because here, the thing is, this is feedback. This is feedback on a banking app. So it's very, very important that we are consistent in the way that we share this information with our users. So the user has to really, really fast look at it and say, "Okay, this is the payment that I just did. So it's no issue. This is a payment notification." So it's important that all of this looks the same, because when something like this appears, your card failed 3DS verification, you immediately spot something different. So for Duolingo's example, it's great to mix it up and not have the same message all the time. But for Revolut's example, it's great to have it all the same. So yeah, 2 different products, different rules apply. Okay, and just one reminder that Microcopy is also a forever work in progress. It should always evolve. So one thing might be true one day, and the next one, it's not true anymore, because our products evolve, our audience evolves, our user base changes. So we kind of have to, if we have quite a quirky microcopy and a tone of voice, we have to keep adapting it to our audience. So for example, here, you found a glitch, you found yourself in a weird place, probably not the place you're looking for, and then a funny emoji here. And this was okay. Slack was a community at first, like for most like techie people. So it was like an app for techie people. So we all knew that this was a 404 page every time we opened it. And we all knew we had to like go back, put another link, whatever. But as the user base kept growing, they kept changing their messages. And it's still Slack. You see, it's the same personality, but they say they are more serious, so no emoji. And they say, "We're not sure what went wrong. You can go back or try looking on the help center if you need a hand." So they added a way out, so that a user that doesn't know what's going on can click there and go find out why did we get that error. Okay, so we have another exercise here. This one is bigger, so 3 minutes. And we have here one example that says no internet connection failed, try again. So this is informative, it's okay, but it's robotic, it's not witty, not fun, it's not communicating in a human way. And then we have one saying tour booked successfully, email sent with confirmation, and close. So rewrite it. Remember all the rules. Active voice. Um, don't put like complicated words. Make it conversational and not robotic. It has to feel like you're talking with someone, and you can use interjections, whatever you want. This is your product, so go ahead. I'll start the timer now. Okay, time is almost up. I see a lot of great suggestions here. So almost done. Okay. So I saw a couple of interesting ones here on the chat. So Felicia had a really nice one. Cannot find it anymore. Here, whoops, there's no internet connection. Try again. We have here, oh snap, you seem to be offline. Please check your internet connection. And then we have done, it's a date. Check your inbox for the booking confirmation. And this is also nice. This one from Philippe. Woohoo! You've just booked your tour. So this is nice. Yeah, like sounds very enthusiastic. But yeah, you have great suggestions here. Like I said, there's like no one, not one correct answer, but multiple, and it all depends on your product and how do you want to sound. So just to close off this part, here's a great error page from Pixar. They really know their users, and it says, oh, don't cry, it's just a 404 error. What you're looking for may have been misplaced in long-term memory. So if you saw Inside Out, you know what this means. This is quite fun, using like this kind of like internal jokes between their user base, let's say, user base. Okay, so now that we know like more or less the main rules, let's go to how should we use them in real life examples. So we have a model here. I will ask you to pick one and put on the chat which one would you pick? Which one do you think is right? We have the A version and the B version. So go ahead and paste it on the chat. I'll wait for it to appear. Remember that I have some delay on my side with the chat. So the first one, are you sure? And the second one says delete forever. So just type A or B. Which one do you prefer? Okay, yeah, just got all of your Bs right now. I'm seeing them. Yeah, so B is obviously better. So let's go through the reasons why. So the first thing is the title and the redundancies. So this doesn't tell me anything. Are you sure? So if I'm just looking at it really fast, the B version says delete forever. I can understand much faster what is happening here. Also, be mindful of row breaks. So don't break up these connectors ever. Try, or at least try not to. Sometimes it's obviously impossible, especially now that we have like everything is responsive, and the text just goes like this. But if you can have like these specific breakpoints where you can make sure that this doesn't happen, it's great. Then use specific verbs like delete. So okay, it doesn't tell me anything. So here, just delete. Yeah, I want to delete. It makes me comfortable in my decision. And had some drama if needed. So this is something dramatic, right? We are deleting something forever. It will never be available again. So we can add drama. We can say it will be lost forever, and even add bolds or paragraphs just to make the information more readable and put more weight in where we want to. So for the second example, we'll talk about toasts. Toasts are, or snack bars, whatever you want to call them, are these tiny things that pop up. You have sent an email, and you send an email and it pops up and says email sending, and then you can undo. Or when you archive something, it usually disappears. Not on every website, but yeah, it appears in a lot of websites. So let's go through what should we do in toasts. So toasts are a bit different. We don't have to put a lot of text here. As you can see, we are using the passive and in all of them, basically, I think, and not really writing a lot, because the thing is, it has to be practical. So the shorter, the better. I think someone said on the chat was asking about mobile and the text being shorter. So yeah, Microcopy lives throughout context, right? So we will really need to check out context and where do we want to apply it. So here, it's okay to use short things and not use all the guidelines that we saw before, because the purpose of this is just to be like this short thing saying that something was created, that something was copied, like this one, or that something was saved. So it's okay to break the rules here, for example. And when should we use more text or less text? So sometimes we struggle with this, right? Like, should I go with more text? Should I go with less text? And this goes a bit into the micro interaction field, but it's still very relevant for microcopy. So we can ask ourselves, will this happen frequently? If it's something that it's happening a lot, like us deleting emails from our inbox, we can just put the toast. Is the action reversible? If it is, we can use the toast. If it's not reversible, we will go for the modal, because we really need to properly warn the user that it's not reversible. Does the action have severe consequences? If it does, like long-term repercussions, we need to warn the user about it. So let's go with the modal. If it doesn't, we go with the toast. And then at last, is the action or its outcome complex to understand? So Do we have to explain about what is happening in the system to the user? Is something that the user is not used to or not aware, something uncommon? So if we need to explain something complex, we can go with the model. If we don't, and it's just a regular action that the users are used to do, we can go with the toast. So I hope you find this helpful. I go through all of this in my head a lot of times while designing interfaces. So here we have two options of an error message. Which one do you think is best? So A or B? Go ahead. You know, I have a bit of a lag here, so I'll be waiting to get everything on the chat. Okay, I'm getting some Bs. Yeah, so B is better, but there's one thing that we must talk about here in B. But first, let's go to this A version. So it sounds tacky, authentication error. It doesn't really help the user understand the problem, does not offer a solution. So it's not really helping me. I don't know if it was my username, my password, what is an authentication error? Did I do something wrong? Or is it the system? Here we can see MailChimp saying, sorry, we couldn't find an account with that username. Can we help you recover your username? So as a microcopy message, this is great because it sounds human, helps the user understand the problem, and it offers a solution. So the solution is really important. But be aware, I'm not sure if we can actually say this everywhere, because first, because of GDPR issues, I'm not sure if we can tell that this username does not exist on MailChimp database. And the second thing is, we were once discussing this, and actually one developer said, well, this is great for hackers, just saying that the username is not correct. So there could be some security issues with this example. So something to think about. And then at last, a 404 page here from Abstract. Quite fun with the GIF. This is a great example. It says, we could not locate the page you requested. Go to the home page or contact support. So offers a way out. So to sum up, first, for an error message, we should describe the problem. So we have here, we can't relocate the page you requested. So we are explaining the problem. The second thing is we are giving a solution so the user can complete the process. So he can go back to the home page. Is there no solution? So we can also give another way out. Here they have the contact support. And here, the less generic you are, the more helpful, obviously. So don't put all errors with the same error message, because then the user won't know what to do. And for example, we have here, this popped up to me the other day. I was navigating in Squarespace. I actually have no idea why this turned on, because this doesn't really look like their other error messages. I think someone forgot about this, I'm not sure. It says idle timeout. We were unable to connect to this site because of inactivity on this page. Please try again, but it wasn't inactive. So it was a bit weird. So the best thing for not leaving like these random error pages abandoned, because when we are developing products, we usually just do like these fast error messages just for us, and then sometimes we forget one error page. So sit down with, if you can, sit down with your development team, discuss the error messages with them, see if you're tackling all of them. So this happens a lot, error messages. We need to work on them, yeah. So here's a great example from Slack. I really like Slack. Their copywriting is great. So, and they say, we are quite sorry about this. Before you try to troubleshoot, please check Slack status here, and the problem may be on our end. So first of all, they say, oh, here, have this link and check out if it's us or you. And then they go to troubleshooting. And you can try one, reload Slack. And if that doesn't work, you can test your connection to see if it's on our end. And then make sure you don't have like a firewall or something. And at last, if nothing of this like this works, you can check the help center or even call them. So here they have like these multiple solutions. And although it's quite massive, yeah, maybe it could be like, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit massive, but it's quite helpful. So the user, when the user lands here, it doesn't get confused. They know what to do. So to sum up, we have a checklist of like all of the rules that we discussed before. So first one, don't be afraid of the blank page. Just write whatever comes to mind and then just keep refining it, refining it, refining. Use the active voice. Have a conversation. Always think to yourself, would I say this out loud, like to a person next to me? This is a great trick, just to think, would I say this out loud? Just read it and think about it. Then speak your audience's language. Communicate in a positive, reassuring, non-boring way. Give feedback in a timely and relevant manner. Error messages should be specific, clear, and provide options or solutions. And then make use of typographic hierarchy and avoid big blocks of text. So make it short, take advantage of the bold, bullets, paragraphs, and don't forget, don't be afraid of introducing some drama if needed. Okay, that's it for now. I'll show you a few references and resources, and then we'll go to the questions. So to read, I just have 2 books here. So the first one is from Cherry Turkle. I think I like everything Turkle writes. This is more about if you're interested in the relationship between like people and machines and all that. A bit about psychology and how do we perceive machines. And then we have here Microcopy, the complete guide. This is from Namala Studio. This is really good, especially if you have like a service or like an e-commerce platform. I couldn't recommend this enough. It's really good. If you are doing internal software, like most of us at Critical TechWorks, maybe you cannot use like the full book. It's not relevant in some parts, but it's still my favorite for Microcopy. It's really, really good. Can't recommend it enough. So if you need help to write, I recommend Hemingway. I really like it. It even identifies the passive voice. And then for the illustrations that I used, if you're interested, they're from Many Pixels. And that's it. I'll pass to Angela now.
It was really nice to this workshop. I learned a lot with examples. I also noticed that everyone was really engaging on the participation, so this is really nice. We gathered a couple of questions in the meanwhile, the ones that you guys did during the session, but please feel free to write down any questions that we may have. I will start with the ones that we already have. So we have here a question from Danielle. I hope I'm saying correctly. How about microcopy for enterprise software? Should we be using formal tone?
Okay, I think it depends a lot. So for example, I will talk about our example, my personal example at Critical TechWorks. We use, it's not formal, but it's not informal. It's kind of something in between. So we are informal, but we don't use jokes or any of that. I think it really depends. There's a great example from, I think, Salesforce. They have like their old voice and tone guideline. Also Adobe, so they're not like super fun, but they are serious and straight to the point. So check out their voice and tone guidelines. I can actually leave the link somewhere. I don't know, Angela, maybe in the comments or after this.
Yes, yes, you can leave the link in the comments if you have,
okay.
Or we can send in the end. We can send an email to everybody with material that you might want to suggest. We can do that. Okay, thank you. Next question from Estela. Sometimes we feel we need to keep the text shorter because of mobile first approach. What do you think?
Sorry, Angela, can you repeat?
Sometimes we feel we need to keep the text shorter because of mobile first approach.
Okay, I remember that one. Yeah. So a bit like the toasts, I think it's all depending on the context. Context. Where are you putting the text? So we have to weigh in stuff like the example from Revolut. So Duolingo mixes things up and adds a lot of like conversational tone and everything. But then Revolut, although having like this really modern and like upkey microcopy, they kind of have like some rules. As you noticed, they say they don't mix it up in their notifications. So I think it's the same here with keeping the text long or short. So if we have to keep it short, we keep it short, like in the toasts. But then again, without a specific example, it's difficult to go one way or another.
Thank you. Another question that we have here: what is the role of microcopy in accessibility?
Okay, so that one, I really like that one. So for example, we can pick up on all of these things that I just talked about, and we actually can apply it into like image titles, image descriptions. So if you are a blind person, you will navigate a website just with titles and descriptions. So also those need to be clear, and you can actually use those in the descriptions. So using the active voice, all of those like tiny cues that we talked about.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Isabel is asking if you have any to-go resource book blog for microcopy on software.
There's an old blog that is called Good Microcopy that I really like. It's like an old collection of like old posts. I don't remember who's the author, but yeah, I can also share it with Angela and we can send it to everyone. Yeah. But also this book that I said about Namala. So if you're interested like more into the technicalities in how to, the Microcopy book is, I would say, is my go-to reference.
Okay. In the meanwhile, we have a lot of comments congratulating you about the presentation. It's really awesome.
Thank you.
Another question. It's not completely related to microcopy, but someone is asking if this presentation was done via Keynote or PowerPoint. I don't know if you want to comment on that.
Keynote. I used Keynote.
Yeah. The animations are a little bit better. Yeah. Vanya is asking if we have UX writers in Critical. If so, how do you work with them?
So at Critical TechWorks, we don't have people specializing in UX writing. We do have product designers with several different backgrounds and I would say technicalities. So we have a big community. And for example, if I have a doubt about something specific, I know exactly which people I should go to. So some of us know a lot about accessibility. Some of us are more focused on like ergonomy and like people and machine interaction. We have a lot of different profiles. So I think that's, although I don't have like someone next to me that I can ask to write things for me, I always have someone that knows a lot about a specific subject. That's a good thing about having such a big community of designers. Yeah, a big group. Yeah.
I think we cover all the questions so far. So Ines, I don't know if you have anything else that you want to. Okay, it's Manuel, it's recommending a book, Writing for Designers by Scott Q. But we will make sure that we will collect some of the recommendations that Ines made during the session, and we will share with you on our social network accounts, the ones that you may be following. If we don't have any further questions, Ines, thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for everybody that joined us today. Was really, I enjoyed a lot. I learned a lot. From our side, from Portuguese side, we just want to let you know that in the next couple of months, we will have more events around UX topics and other topics that relate to building software and build products. So stay tuned and we'll come back to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.